Alright then, so I'm joined now with N-Europe staff member, Mr. Jonnas, and he is going to tell us about the best Game Boy game of all time. And no, it's not Pokemon, and no, it's not Zelda. What is it, Jonnas?
Well, it's if it's neither of those two, it's probably Donkey Kong, the one released in 1994.
Mm-hmm. Colloquial, I can't even say it now. Say that word for me, I can't say it.
Colloquially
known as Donkey Kong 94, yeah. So, why do you want to talk about DK94? What's so special about it? And I agree, by the way, that it's a very special game.
Yes, well, there's a multitude of reasons. The first one being that back in the day, when I was in a grade school, primary school, yes, it was the most popular game in our recess. One of our most popular games. Mm-hmm. Probably because a lot of people had it. Might have been because it's Mario. The Mario Land series was also popular, but Donkey Kong 94 just held our attention for longer, I would say. Probably because it's a puzzle platformer. Mm-hmm. And I feel it's a very good puzzle game. Because when you look at each level individually, I wouldn't say there's just one solution for every puzzle or one solution for each level. It always feels like you can just take your pace, interact with the level at your own rhythm. Mm-hmm. Control Mario over the course of the level, jump here, jump there, whatever you want. Then eventually, when you figure out what you have to do, you just do it. You just interact with the level. It's not like Tetris, where you can have a block that's in the middle of between two blocks. Like you can't do that. It always moves one block at a time. With Mario, it always felt like, if you can move 1 millimeter to the side, yeah, you probably can. So that key that you need to figure out in order to open the door, which is the goal of every level, it feels like that you can just go anywhere on the map. Like you could throw it out into the sea, and if it lands on a rock, tough luck.
Exactly, yeah. So do you see this as more of a sequel to the Mario Land games, or as a true sequel to the original arcade Donkey Kong?
That's a good question, because I think I consider it to be neither.
Interesting.
Because as a sequel to the Mario Land series, I don't think it holds up much.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, the control is entirely different. Mm-hmm. Like in Mario Land, you can run and jump and hover like in previous Mario games. But in Donkey Kong, you can what you call it the handstand. Yes, you can do the handstand. You can do the backflip that would later go on to appear in Mario 64, and the triple jump. Yeah, there was the triple jump also debuted in that game. Yeah, it debuted in that game, I think. Mm-hmm. So as a sequel to Mario Land, it just doesn't hold up. Mm-hmm. But it is Mario versus Donkey Kong, so it's probably a sequel to the original Donkey Kong. And while it pays homage to that game in the first few levels, it's also a very different kind of game. The original Donkey Kong is all about beating a very simple platforming level, which works well for the arcades, just a handful of levels, and you have to assume that your audience doesn't know how to play a platform game very well. But then the Game Boy game just went in an entirely different direction. It practically remade the original Donkey Kong at first. Yep. Just to teach you the physics, the controls and such, and the general rhythm of the game. But then the rest of the game is just very different. It's about solving puzzles. It's about interacting with switches and blocks and hammers, and finding a way to grab that key and take it to wherever the door is.
There was the optional collectibles as well, wasn't there? From the DK arcade, there was the hat, the handbag, and what was the other one that you had to collect?
An umbrella.
Umbrella, yeah. Now, if I remember correctly, because it's been a long time since I played it, I think I played it briefly on the 3DS when it was released on the Virtual Console, but you could just do enough to finish the level, couldn't you? You could get the key, exit, but there was also, if you got the 3 items, that was, full completion of the level. Am I right about that?
Yes. But because I do believe those 3 objects were the only collectibles. but yeah, those were Pauline's accessories. That's pretty much, I think, the only completionist bonus in that game, which is fine, for 94.
Yeah.
It's.
I think the thing for me that was quite shocking at the time, and probably looking back is still quite shocking, is how many levels there were. Because I think there was there like 8 worlds. I want to say there was 8 worlds.
I believe the last one was a 9th world.
Okay. So the first 4 levels were the 100 meters, weren't they, of Donkey Kong? And then if I remember the city, I remember the jungle. I'm struggling to remember anything after that.
Yeah, the city is the first level. I remember there was a forest level and the jungle level.
Yeah, that's right, forest.
Yeah, yeah. The forest was the second one. The jungle was like 6th or whatever. Then there was an Egypt style level. Which,
that's right. Yeah. Okay. I remember that.
Aesthetically, has always been my favorite. There was also a pirate ship level, which was painfully short because it was really cool as well. And I remember, like, as a kid, back when I didn't own the game yet, and I was just, with every other kid in recess, just trying to pitch in, saying, "Oh, maybe you should try this. Maybe you should try." I remember that at the time I didn't know what came after. I would say the jungle level. Maybe after the 7th level, I don't know. And when it finally appeared, like, oh, what is it after this one? What is after this one? Rocky Mountains.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah, that was difficult.
that is such an anticlimax. Like after Egypt and the pirate ship, it's some mountains just. But yeah, the mountain is the level with the lava and the falling rocks. And final DK Tower, because every single person in the Mario universe has a tower or a castle to themselves, apparently. Even Luigi has a mansion. So
True. Did you finish the game? Did you get to the end?
Yes. So, funny story about that is that I eventually witnessed the ending and the final boss, as a bystander. And then the next Christmas, my aunt gave me that game. Like, she didn't know I liked it. She didn't know it was popular. I just suddenly owned it. I was like, okay, but great. I can replay this now.
And did you go for 100% completion? Did you manage to finish all the levels with all the items?
I believe so, like, naturally. At the time, I didn't consider it to be like a completionist bonus because it didn't unlock anything. Like I unlocked everything in Kirby's Dream Land because the game was keeping track, and I think, there must be something hidden here, and yes, there was. But in Donkey Kong, it's just, the people who did it didn't say anything, so I did it. But I probably did it naturally because I replayed it so many times. And at one point, it's just, okay, well, am I going to finish this level without grabbing the accessories? Like, who am I, a scrub?
Yeah. I don't think I definitely finished the game, but I don't think I did it with 100%. I definitely stopped collecting all the accessories later on because it just became a little bit too difficult. But I do think it's like it had a big influence because we mentioned already there was the handstand, which hasn't been used again really in Mario games. But we had the backflip, we had the triple jump. I also remember there was the swinging on the telephone wires. Do you not remember?
I remember
there was like some wires, yeah.
Yeah, you could climb up and down. I'm thinking of vines.
And climbing up and down the vines as well, yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I remember, like, you could spin around on the telephone wires to get more height.
Yeah.
And that obviously came back in Sunshine.
Yes, okay, now I remember. Because I think that's mostly a city thing.
Yeah, it was in the city, definitely. It was, a big part of the city.
Oh, yeah, but that was a fun move, yeah. It's, and since it was relatively difficult to control, it was like... I believe it was... I'm struggling to remember the specifics, but was it mandatory at any point?
I think definitely to get the items it was mandatory, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember using it as a shortcut. Like, I remember a few places where it wasn't mandatory, but I used it as a shortcut just for fun. Because, it was a really fun move. But it was also a tad difficult to control, so I understand why it was optional.
Yeah. Well, I think overall, like, I think this is probably one of the most underrated Mario games, and I think it's probably one of the least played, especially compared to like Mario Land and Mario Land 2, definitely Wario Land even. And actually, I think it's had a bigger influence than maybe people would appreciate overall.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. Because people don't talk about Donkey Kong much when it comes to Mario games, probably because it doesn't have Mario in the title.
True, yeah.
And maybe that's why people didn't play it back then. Also, I remember I played Donkey Kong Land before playing Donkey Kong. And as we know, Donkey Kong is the superior game.
Yep, for sure.
But yeah, and like you said, it would go on to influence how Mario moves in Mario 64. Even now when Mario 3D Land just got not Mario 3D Land, Mario 3D All Stars just got released. People started reminiscing about the older games, and when talking about Super Mario 64, people just say, "Oh yeah, this is where you have a variety of moves such as the backflip and the triple jump." And how did they nail this the first time around?
Well, they'd already nailed it before.
Because it's not the first time around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they nailed it the first time. The first time, which was in Donkey Kong 94. But it was different back then. In order to do the triple jump, you need to do the handstand first.
You did, yeah, because it was the one jump, the handstand, and then after you'd landed, you could do the high triple jump, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the way that game teaches you that. Like, it doesn't. It just in between levels
you just realize that you have to do it.
Yeah. No, it's just in between these levels there are cutscenes, like funny cutscenes where Mario finds a couple of drones shooting bullets and is like, how do I, so he just uses the triple jump in order
to escape it.
If the player's paying attention, can we do this? It's kind of confusing because some things just don't mesh with the gameplay very well. Like at some point Mario gets hit in the head and he gets paralyzed. But in gameplay, if he gets hit in the head, he dies.
True. Yeah.
But I definitely remember looking at one point, I noticed that certain moves only start to become mandatory once Mario did them in cutscenes. But you can do them from the start.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That's great.
It is a good way of showing. I remember now actually those little cutscenes with the music in the background. I'll maybe try and find some of it to put on in between some parts of this podcast. But if you had to sum up Donkey Kong 94 in a few words and potentially sell it to anybody who's not played it, it's available on the 3DS Virtual Console. I'm not sure about the Wii U. What would you say to people who've never played a Donkey Kong 94 before?
Well, I'm going to steal a line that I found on the internet about that game and Mole Mania because it has the same director. This is the sort of Donkey Kong's a physics-based puzzle game where you might get stuck in a while, but then you think of the wildest idea and you think, that would never work, but then you try it and it does.
So it's experimental.
Yeah, it's it rewards experimentation. Like, even if it's not the solution, you'll figure out that, wow, I just got to a place where I shouldn't be. That's cool. Okay, but this is not the solution. but it still rewards it. Like, it rewards experimentation. It does not hold your hand. It's just a cool physics engine, a cool world to like interact with, and those make the best puzzle games in my opinion. Like every time I find a new puzzle game, like especially a physics-based one, I always think, okay, so how does this measure up to Donkey Kong? Because Mole Mania, as good as it is, it's not a physics-based puzzle game. And what I classify as that, and maybe I should have said this earlier, is basically games that don't feel like they have a strict sense of rules. Like they are governed by physics, not by whatever strict rules you have there. Like Mole Mania is like compare Mole Mania to Legend of Zelda. Mole Mania is top down. Zelda is also top down. But Mole Mania, like you move one step at a time, like one square at a time. Zelda, you can move diagonally.
Yeah,
free, move whatever. Free. You can clip through corners. Like Zelda is a bit more physics based. Mole Mania is too strict for that. Donkey Kong is physics based as well. In my opinion, it's still the reference. Like every time I come across like a Tesla Grad or the Swapper, which are indie games, physics-based indie games, fantastic by the way. I always compare them. So how does this measure up to Donkey Kong 94? It might be above, might be below, but Donkey Kong 94 is still the
it's still the measuring stick.
Exactly. Yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Jonnas, for joining us to talk about Donkey Kong 94. And
Thank you, Nick, for inviting
we'll
me.
come back and talk to you again soon.
Hopefully. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.